Locally grown fruits and vegetables hit the shelves at Dierbergs daily this time of year. Photojournalist Randy Schwanker stopped by a local farm to meet one of the farmers who's been growing tomatoes for more than 50 years.
They're a staple at Stuckmeyer's farm in Columbia, Illinois.
We've been in the tomato business our whole career, 65, 70 years, Since I'm 10 years old, I've been doing this now. So.
Mel Stuckmeyer has seen his share of tomatoes.
We got about 60,000 planted this year.
They're harvested the same way they were 70 years ago.
All hand-picked between the rows, and it's labor intensive.
And you'd be surprised at how fast they can end up in the store.
These were picked this morning here, so they'll be in the store tomorrow.
Mel has been selling fresh tomatoes to Dierbergs supermarkets for decades.
I sold to High Moose, and High Moose sold to Dierbergs, that was like 50 years ago.
And the best way to preserve your tomatoes?
Room temperature on the counter, never in the refrigerator. They'll keep just in an air-conditioned house is the best place, just right on the counter.
Mary Ann Moore, culinary director for Dierbergs Markets, is sharing her knowledge and one of her favorite recipes.
So a question that I get asked all the time is, how do you cut a tomato? Well, the best way to cut a tomato is not with a chef's knife, but with a nice, sharp, serrated knife. Makes it so easy to get the perfect cut. You can see it goes right through the tomato with no problem. Today I am making a panzanella salad, so I want a nice rough chop on the tomatoes. I'll use about 2 pounds, and they'll go into the bowl along with some bread that I've grilled. You can also dry it out on the stovetop overnight, but I love grilling because it brings out a nice smoky flavor in the bread and works really well with the tomatoes.
A little sliver of onion on top and a homemade dressing using garlic, red wine vinegar, and olive oil.
And finally, some fresh basil. There's nothing better with fresh summer tomatoes than fresh picked basil. Mix it all together. And this will sit for about 30 minutes to an hour. The tomatoes will start to release their juice. They'll blend with the olive oil and the red wine vinegar. The bread will get nice and soft, absorbing all those flavors. This is a perfect salad to highlight the fresh flavor of those just picked tomatoes.
It looks so good. Dierbergs School of Cooking offers all sorts of classes for all ages. You can see the list at dierbergs.com. You can get the recipe for panzanella with heirloom tomatoes under the recipe tab. We'll also post a link to the recipe on the Show Me St. Louis page of KSDK.com.